when our little class ends. How does that sound? Because it's a rainy day ahead and you're not missing out on going and doing anything else. So it's a good day. Do some art. How does that sound to everyone? Does it sound like thumbs up, good idea? Good. Yes, okay. So what I want you to do, I want to make sure everybody has some watercolors out. You have your watercolor set, you have your brushes, you have a water cup, it's about halfway full, and you have a little bit of paper towel in case you need to soak something up. Does everybody have that? Daphne, you're fired. You dropped a pencil on our paintbrush on the thing. So anyways, all right, now I'm gonna go back. So what I was thinking about today is we would do some painting basics. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mute everyone, if that's all right. If you need me, can you guys show me, like, do the thumbs up and stuff, because it's distracting to me. Not that I need complete silence when I'm teaching, it's just, you know, it's a little distracting. I wanted to mention one other thing. Everyone here knows that I share this big studio building with my husband Stan, his company. Well, he has to do a Zoom today at 9:30. So if we get disconnected today, just resume me, because sometimes the internet can be a little bit off, okay? Does everyone understand? Yes? Yes? All right, I'm gonna mute you now. Mute, you're going quiet. But first of all, I gotta know, Jack, are you awake? Liam, are you awake? Yes. Cameron, are you awake?
Yeah.
All right. Are the McKenna kids awake? Yes. The dark shadows. And Parker, you're awake. So that's probably good. Now, I feel like, are we missing one other friend? Who are we missing? I don't know. Wait a minute.
Gretchen.
I know Gretchen was supposed to come. I don't know what happened there. I'm not sure if I'm awake. Wait a minute. I can do it. Ready? I'm gonna have one more sip of coffee.
Power of coffee.
You can't live without coffee when you get to be old. Okay. So I'm gonna mute you guys and let's do some painting. Ooh. All right. Are we ready? Okay. I want you to notice in your paint packet, or in your paper packet, in your watercolor kit, I gave you some different paper. Did everybody see it? And I gave you some envelopes. Now, it's just, we're not going to use those this morning, but the idea behind the envelopes was that you could make something called mail art. So you could do a painting on the envelope. You could consider, you know, the shape of it here. You could even do like, so when someone opened the envelope, you could put a little piece of art here. And then you could cover the front, but leave some space if you think that you actually want to mail it. You could put inside of it a little picture and send it to someone, because a lot of people aren't as fortunate as we are to be in Maine and be able to be outside all the time. And they might really appreciate getting something beautiful from you in the mail, don't you think? Yeah. So if you did a little painting today, you could let it dry, and then you could design the envelope as you'd like, and then put it in the mail and give it as a gift to someone, okay? Or maybe it's some way of giving someone a card, or it's just a nice, happy thing to do, okay? So that's something for you to think about. I have a lot of family that lives in the city, and so I often try to mail them things, especially right now, because they're stuck in their apartments. So I know they really appreciate getting something in the mail. Can everyone think of someone that might like to get something in the mail that would bring them some joy? Can anyone think of anyone? Jack, you'll have to think about it, right? So mail art is a real thing. People used to think about, mail art happened in the 1950s. They would think about, what could I actually mail? So people tried to mail a piece of wood, Yep. A plant, not in a box, to see what the US Postal Service would actually mail. Well, you could Google it a little bit more. Let me show you a little tiny piece of mail art I made. So my favorite aunt lives by herself in New York City. And I don't know if all of you guys know this, but I'm originally from New York City. And so I didn't really do anything with the envelope yet, but it has a big envelope because I put inside of it all kinds of things. But one of them I did was wrapped up in some parchment paper. It's actually, I sealed it shut. Is I did a painting and I'm mailing it to her of when I went out to my camp, to my family camp. Don't you think she'd like to get that? So mail art doesn't always have to be the actual mail piece. It's something you put in there. Okay, so now onwards to painting. Now find your, I put in there in your mail packet, in your little packet of paper, all different kinds of paper. Find the small piece. It's sort of like a scrap. And we're going to do our practice, our brushwork on this piece, okay? So find the little piece. And the first thing you want to do is get your paints open. And you want to wake up your paints. Now, those of you who've had class with me, Jack, you should know how to wake up your paints, right? So what you're going to do is you pick up water and you drop the, so what you're doing is you're picking up water and you're dropping it off without touching the color. It's a little tricky. And right now, so that you can see it really well, I'm going to do it with my left hand, even though I'm a right-handed person. So pick up the water. I call it picking up the kids. And if you tip your brush just like that, you don't even touch the color. Boy, that is really awkward to do with my right hand. Now be careful with the yellow. It gets dirty really easily. Now, did anybody notice that you have an extra new paintbrush in your watercolor set? So pull off that plastic tip because it's brand new and you can just set it aside till later. If you have any of those plastic things, just pull those suckers off, okay? So you want to wake up all your paint, each color. And then what I want you to do, because it's pretty damp outside in general, your paints shouldn't be too dry, but in the middle of winter, you really need to wake up your paint. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to get your little piece of paper, and we're going to practice some of our brush work. We're going to make some worms or snakes. Jack, you've probably done this with me before, right? We've done this before. So the first thing is, let's talk about the two different kinds of brushes you have. There's many different kinds of brushes, but you have a flat brush. That's where all the hairs make an edge, okay? And you turn it on its side, it actually is flat. And that's a great brush for doing things that have a square edge. So if you were gonna paint a box, you would want to use this brush. So that's a flat brush. The other kind of brush that you got was a round brush. That's all the hairs make a point, and that is good for doing some very small details or for doing anything that's rounded, okay? And if you have any other brushes that you have with your stuff at home, then you can go ahead and use those too. Watercolor brushes tend to be very soft. So if you have some really soft brushes, then those are probably good for watercolor. Acrylic painting, like we did on Monday when we did our Van Gogh paintings, tend to be rougher and scratchier, okay? All right, let's practice making some snakes. I'm gonna put on my glasses because I'm old, I'm tired, and I can't see anything. No, just kidding. All right. So we're gonna pick up, let's do a rainbow. Why not, okay? What's the first color in the rainbow? Oh, that's right. I can't hear you guys. Ha! I should teach class more often like this, where it's total silence. All right, I'm going to unmute you because actually it's pretty boring. All right, here we go. I'm unmuting all of you. All right, so let's pick up some red, right? Because the red's the first color in the rainbow. I think I unmuted you.
Yes.
Okay, you're there. Okay, let's pick up the red. So we're not going to crush our brush. We're going to lightly put our brush, I'm just making sure you can see it, in the red. And we're going to practice making some snakes. So when I put my paint in the brush, I said I don't crush it, but I also kind of gently tip my brush. And what I want to do is I want to practice going on my tippy toes of the brush, and I also want to practice going like sort of parallel to the paper. Now, if I go tippy top, it's hard for you to see, so I'll just do the best I can. So what you're going to do is start by making your snake really skinny, and then you're slowly going to go fatter and fatter and fattest. Okay? So this isn't a picture. This is just practicing your brushwork. Watch me do it again. I'm going to do another red one, and my red was kind of thin. Oops, so I'm going to do my tippy toes. Ooh, and my tippy toes got a little fat there. Tippy toes. And then slowly all the way down, all the way down, all the way down until it's fat. Okay? So practice making a couple of these. This is just a little abstract practice piece. Okay? Now I think that you should have gotten 2 round brushes. So that used the really small one. Now I'm going to go to the medium-sized one. And I'm going to get, what would be the next color in the rainbow, guys?
Orange.
All right, we got some orange here. That orange is bizarre looking.
Yeah.
It's not very orangey. That's odd.
Looks like brown.
Is yours not orange either?
Nope.
Isn't that weird? Who knows? Orange is taking the day off.
Yellow. Not orange.
Okay. So I'm going to practice making some more snakes, and it's okay if I want to make mine overlap a little bit. I could go back to the red. I could think about when I'm painting and practicing my little snakes, how sometimes the paint is more saturated. See how it's really, really saturated right here, but over here it's watered down. So the red almost looks a little pink, right? You can see the paper through it. All right, I'm gonna go for the green. I'm really disappointed with that orange. I'm just telling you right now, it's really a bummer. But I'm gonna go back into it. All right, I'm gonna do some yellow snakes.
Yellow. Second favorite color.
You know what it is these paints are washable watercolor, so the color tends to be different. All right, let's make some more snakes. And you can also, instead of starting with thin, you could start fat, press the brush all the way down, and then slowly pick it up. So it goes to medium to tippy toes. So after you do the yellow, guess what you're gonna do? What's next? Green.
Green. Henry's favorite color.
Oh, good. And you know, our palette actually is in the color of the rainbow there. So you could keep going. Now, if you want to change gears a little bit, we could skip and go to your, guess what? We're going to go to your flat brush, and you have 2 flat brushes, I believe, in your kit, a little one and a big one. So I'm going to start out with the green, and I'm going to do, I'm not going to make snakes with this. Well, I might just one, and I want you to see how it looks different. It makes more of a stripe. Now, you have different things you can do with your little flat brush, okay? You could do little feet. Boop, boop. You can make little boxes with your flat brush by pressing the whole thing down. The other thing you can do is instead of pushing it like I did here, I can turn it up like this and I can make a line that way. That's pretty cool. Did anybody see how I did that? I turned my brush up like, oh, it's so hard with the camera. I turned my brush up on its edge and did some lines that way. So after my green, what do we have left? Blue and purple. Okay. So I'm gonna take the blue and I feel like I hear Cecily. Ooh, look at that beautiful blue. So with my blue, this time I just put it down and it was really saturated. Now I'm gonna use my little tray I have right here, and I'm gonna put some water in the tray, and I'm gonna bring some of the blue over, and I'm gonna thin out the color. So it's a very quiet blue. And look at the difference now of the blue I put down and the blue that I'm gonna paint. See how that's different? So when you're going to paint skies, you have choices, or whatever you want to paint blue, or with all the colors, whether you want something to be more saturated like it is there, or sometimes it could be thinner. Sometimes you can have all those things, right? I've almost run out of room on my little piece of paper. Is anybody else? Yes, you did? Okay. So you can keep layering the colors. So I could now go in with my purple, of course, and I'm going to do purple right next to the blue. Watch what happens right here. The blue and the purple start to mingle and bleed into each other. And that's okay, because we're going to do a painting that one color bleeds into another in a second. That's kind of neat. The other thing you can do is if your paint's a little drippy, you can pick it right up. Tap it on the table. This is kind of fun to do. This is the kind of stuff that makes parents freak out, but art teachers are totally cool with it. Look at this. Take your paint, tip your paper up, get a little extra water, not too much, and let your purple drip. Woo, that's kind of fun over the whole rainbow. Now, kids, I gotta tell you something. Watercolor has a really bad rap. Everyone thinks that you can't do it, like it's really hard. Here's the thing about watercolor. You have to remember it's a paint that uses water. So we know that water, you can't control it to a certain degree. So what you have to do is embrace it for its unique qualities. And it is meant to be a drippy, fluid, fun medium. Okay? Is anyone dripping theirs? Can I see? You guys are all busy. I love it. Oh, you know who? I know who's missing. We're missing Hannah. It just occurred to me. Cameron, are you doing all right? I think he's busy. He's like, don't talk to me. Daphne, you are quite a character, aren't you? Oh, Parker, you must be busy with her, huh? Daphne, how old are you? She's refusing. Oh, she's not telling me her age. That's right, because women do not reveal their age, right? Oh, all right. So who's ready to dive into one of the big pieces of paper? Maybe you already have. Has anyone already dove into the big piece of paper?
Not yet.
Not yet. Thank you for answering me. Okay, I'm going to dive in. I'm going to go get the big piece of paper. Now, there's a couple of them, and they are really nice watercolor papers. And I did think, guess what we're going to paint next? Does anybody know?
No.
We're going to paint a big rainbow, and then I'm going to walk you through doing a little landscape picture. Does that sound okay? All right. So I will say I can't handle how bad the orange is in my palette. So I'm going to go get everyone some orange right now. No, just kidding. I am going to go get some orange out of my studio. I will be right back.
Oh, orange is red and yellow. So you can just
Watercolors are harder to make it cool for orange.
Great.
So I mean, you could still.
I see the orange. I
And then
You still? I think it looks beautiful.
This is how the rainbow goes.
Orange, the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and
Don't worry, I am coming back. My orange that was in a tube was stuck shut. So I'm going to show you something cool. You ready for this? Are you ready? Whoa! What do you think of that? That is one of my watercolor paint trays. You think that looks really cool? So what this is an old plate. It's just a clay plate. I think I just got it at Target. That's the label there. It's a dish I'm never going to eat off again. And so I was thinking, okay, I need orange. Well, there's some orange there. Oh, look, there's even some black coming off of there. And there's some orange up here. So I'm just going to use a little bit of my paint tray. So the cool thing about watercolor is you can squeeze it out of a tube and then it can dry on the plate, and then it's not dried up forever. You just have to wake it up. You just get it a little bit wet. Isn't that cool? Okay, so let's paint a rainbow. And I think we should start with, you want to start with purple this time, or do you want to start with red? Start with purple? Okay, let's do it. And we're going to let our rainbows flow one color into another. I'm just getting my tray ready. And I just want you to have fun doing this, but I also want you to just let the paint flow. So I'm going to use the big flat brush. And I grab, oh, we talked about grabbing the purple first, and I went and grabbed the red. Okay, I've got the purple super juicy. Here we go. I am not just going to spread it like this, nice and big. I'm going to do a couple different strokes with that purple because I want it to be really bold. And it's okay if it's not perfectly symmetrical. I think the world could use some more rainbows right now. Who agrees? Maybe you could get a big, big piece of paper and paint a big rainbow and stick it in the window of your house. So when people drive by, they see it. Who would like to do that?
me.
Now remember that tray that you had? You could mix up some extra purple in the tray if you want. What's next? We need to do some blue. Ooh, I just moved my, but not yet. I'm going to make my rainbow touch the edge of the paper. And I let it, look right here, I let it be kind of thick and more saturated. And then I let it be a little bit thin. So now I'm going to do blue, but I'm going to let the blue run into the purple. Now, if I don't want the blue to run into the purple, I have to either let the paper dry or I have to let it not touch. I'm gonna just let it touch. I'm gonna be wild. Because I like it when the colors mingle. I think that's very pretty. Look at that. That's pretty nice. And I'm re-dipping in the blue every single time because I'm making it pretty saturated. Every time I put down my brush, the end of my brush is just tipping the brush stroke that I did before. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to bring it in the other way. My blue and my purple are really running into each other, but I like it. I can take my paper and the paint only goes where the water is. So look at this. If I tip my purple down, look what it's doing. This is so cool. Uh-oh. Okay. So guess what's next color? What's our next color? Purple, blue, green, right?
Yellow.
You could you do your rainbow in any order you want? What do you think? Please do your rainbow in any color you want. The reason why though the rainbow colors are this way is this the way the colors actually mingle. So if you do, and mix nicely, if you do yellow next to black, you're just gonna get a purpley brown color. But if you do green next to blue, you get what, kids?
Turquoise?
No, well, yeah, you get a blue-green, right?
Oh yeah, teal.
A blue-green.
Okay.
So here's my green. The green is just not as strong as I would like. So I'm going back, I'm re-dipping, and look what I'm doing. I'm loading it on. So it was wet and I'm dropping in color. I'm doing what they call color bleeding. And I'm gonna do my next swipe. It's gonna be just with water. And watch how the paint just slides right over. And I'm gonna go back in with the green again, and I'm just drop it in because that's really fun to do. The paint is only going where the water is. So where the paper's dry, it's not leaving the rainbow.
Miss Queen,
Yes, honey.
so I put some water on my
Wow!
thing, and
Yeah.
it looked like there was like a bunch of trees in front of my rope.
That's cool, Liam. That's awesome. You could let that dry, Liam, and work on it some more, okay? It's not like it doesn't have to be done. All right, guess what color's next? We need to do some yellow. And if your water, my water's looking pretty dirty right now. So guess what? It's time to change it out. So I'm gonna get a little bit of new water. You might wanna do that if your water is purple or blue.
My water's purple.
Okay, so let's grab some yellow. And, ooh, that looks, I love yellow. That looks really nice.
No, it's my second favorite color.
It is a really good color. I'd say yellow is in my favorite color list. I find that I use a lot of yellow and I use a lot of orange in my paintings. I don't really wear yellow and orange, but I do like to paint with it. And I'm gonna let my yellow go over the green. See how right here, I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me show you. On this side, see what's happened right here? That's kind of neat. Even the purple is running down. I'm just gonna go with it. Okay, I'm gonna do some more yellow. All right, guess what's next? That orange that we don't like. I'm gonna grab orange for my tray. Because I found that orange I gave you, I am sorry, is deeply dissatisfying. Okay, here comes the orange. Whoa, that's pretty bright, huh? I think I need my yellow to mingle in with the orange more. Who thinks that I'm right about this? So I'm gonna grab the yellow again. Remember, I'm cleaning my brush in between, and I'm just gonna drop the yellow in. And so it's actually mixing a little bit with the orange. Okay, I guess what we need to do now is red, right? Here's the red again. Oh, beautiful. And the red, I think, also could be a little more vibrant. So I'm going to grab more red and I'm going to drop it in. Now, you can do whatever you want with your painting. You could do more with it after you get the rainbow, or you could just call it good after the rainbow. That is up to you. What I would do is probably, I'm pretty happy with mine. I'm probably just going to leave it. Kind of fun painting rainbows, don't you think?
I love it.
It's amazing. I don't know who's saying that. Is that your sister, Daphne? Okay, I'm gonna let my rainbow dry. Lucy, are you and your sister and brother doing okay? Okay, great. Whoa, what was that horrible noise?
It's the egg thingy. We're making hard.
Okay, I'm going to get another piece of paper ready to do our next little painting exercise. I'm gonna not tip my painting. Watch how I pick it up, kids. Straight up, and then I keep it straight, and I go and I put it down in another location. Okay, now for the next thing we're going to do, we're gonna need a little bit of a pencil. Are you guys okay with me to keep going, or do you want me to wait?
Almost.
Daphne, is that your sister? Is that Cecily, Lucy? I don't know who the screaming kid is, but I might know you all. I don't know who you are. Okay. Oh, let's see something real quick. Did someone chat with me and I missed their chat? I don't know. Okay, I'm looking. Maybe not. Okay, so everyone knows that today is what, the third day of summer? Is that correct? Yeah, I think it's like the third day of summer, fourth day of summer. And of course, this time of year, the trees have a full canopy. That means that their leaves on the top, the shape of, if you were to draw a line all the way around the edges of the shape of the trees, leaves at the top, that would be called the canopy. That's an art word for that shape. So what I was thinking is we would do a painting of some trees and some ground, and if you want to add whatever you want to your picture, but I thought I would walk you through making some clouds and making some trees and go from there. Does that sound good? Nod your head, yes? Bad? No? Good? Okay. So to make clouds, you need to have some paper towel ready. Okay? And we're going to make a blue sky, but you could make your sky any color you want. So I'm going to put down some sky color. I'm going to show you how to make some sky. So the first thing we do is we're going to put down some blue. Now often, oh, I just dripped some blue. Often what I do is I tape down my pictures, but we're just not doing that. But if you want to tape them down, that's often helpful. So when you're painting a sky and you want to make clouds, you have to work pretty fast. So I'm putting down some blue. And the thing is I don't want that paint to dry before I go in to make my cloud. If it does, it's okay. Okay, I've got all my blue down and I want to put some clouds in the sky. So guess what? I'm going to go in with my paper towel and a little bunched up thing and I'm just going to go like this. Oh, I made a cloud. Made a cloud. Made another cloud. Okay? So I could make a whole sky of clouds. So I'm going to keep going down with my sky. If I had a bigger brush, I could do this faster, but it's okay. I want you to use the same exact paints you are. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull up some more clouds. Ready? Wow. And if your paper towel has different shapes on it, you're going to get maybe the look you want as if there was a storm coming, or clouds that maybe are cumulus clouds. All right, I'm going to keep my sky going, but as I go down now, I'm not going to re-dip in the water, because as the sky goes closer to the horizon line, it often will lighten. And I don't want to put any more blue down. I just want the blue to kind of bleed. And each time I put that down, guess what's happening is the sky is getting lighter and lighter because I have not re-dipped in the blue. I've only re-dipped into the water. And so the blue is slowly creeping down my paper. Ooh. This sort of reminds me of the way that's happened there. It almost looks like a rain shower. Now, down at the bottom, I have a little bit of a puddle, so I'm just going to gently pull up the puddle. And I could think about now what is happening on the ground. Now, if I want to, I probably ought to, I'm going to put one more little cloud right there. Oh, man, there was junk on my paper towel. That's so annoying. Rub it out gently. Okay. So what I want to do maybe is something interesting on the ground. But if I paint green right here, does anybody know what's going to happen for ground? What will happen? If I put green down here and it touches where the water is, what's going to happen? Liam, where'd you go, buddy? That means the green is going to start going up into the sky. So I'm going to wait a few minutes and let that dry. And what I could do is grab another piece of paper and do another different painting. But what I'm going to do is just hang on and not start anything else. Just let you guys paint. Okay. So I have a big sky Okay, I don't have anything else in my picture. So now what I could do, it's almost as if the way I painted this, it's almost as if I am in the water on a canoe or a kayak, and I'm seeing lots and lots of sky. In Maine, we don't see lots of sky like you would do like near New Mexico or Arizona, because we have a very hilly terrain, unless you're up in northern Maine. So this sort of seeing a lot of sky reminds me of being somewhere where it's really open, which often happens when you're on a lake or the ocean. So thinking about that, what might you do on the ground? You could put some water there. You could maybe you're in a big open field. Maybe you're in a big farm area where you can see where they're starting to grow things. You can add whatever you want. I'm going to put mine, I'm just going to put some grass down and maybe show you a little bit about suggesting maybe there's some lupins blowing in the wind. So of course I'm going to grab some green, but that green is pretty, I don't know, it's kind of saturated. So I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to put a little yellow in my green to make the green a little different. And I'm doing that in the mixing tray. We always do all of our color mixing in the mixing tray, never actually in the color itself, because then the next person who uses it is really disappointed that their green is yucky, right? So always do all your color mixing in a tray. Just to give you an idea when you're thinking about greens, there it is. This is a little thing that you could do today after class, is you could make, I know this is wicked Maine fun, but you could make a chart and experiment with making different kinds of colors based on what you have. So this is blue up here, just a regular blue, and this is the blue with extra water in it. What would happen if I add yellow to that blue? I can make my own green, right? Maybe I add a different kind of yellow to the blue and I would get this kind of green. Or maybe I add brown to the blue and I get this color, which is sort of like the color of dirt, right? So there's lots of different ways that you can make colors. You don't have to use them straight from the little palette I gave you. You can make up your own. Okay, so back to the green. I made a yellowy green. And now I'm going to start putting it down, but instead of just stripping it across like I just did, oh, I noticed you can't see that. Hold on a minute. Instead of just striping it across, I want to add some texture. I don't know if you remember, but I showed you that with the flat brush, you can't just make stripes like that. You can do you can turn it up on its side and make the texture of green, like of grass, like this. And you could let your green mingle into the yellow. I'm gonna grab some yellow, put that down. And I'm gonna let my colors mingle a little bit. Because if you look out at the universe, you'll see that there's more colors there than you think. You have to think and paint. I'm going to slowly work up my yellowy green to touch the sky. There isn't white space between the sky and the landscape. Whoa, I did a big stripe of green. I'm going to do another stripe of green. And I'm going to go back in with yellow, right, with my yellowy green right on top. Whoa, it went into the sky a tiny bit. So that's what happens if it's still wet. And what you can always do is grab a clean bit of paper towel and gently dab it, but not pat it. Just put down your paper towel. I'm not wiping the paper. I'm just putting it down and then lifting it off. Because when we pat it like this, it kills the paper. Okay, I'm going to go back in with some yellow now. because I want my grass, my landscape to be very vibrant. Does anybody want to put some flowers into their grass? Some lupins or some daisies? You could think about how you might do that. Oh, there's another runner. I better get that. There we go. Could I even drop a little bit of blue into my grass? Make a blue-green? I could do that. Just a little bit of blue. Ooh. And then put a little yellow into it and make my own green while I'm right on the painting. So it's okay to do color mixing on your painting too. The biggest thing is to not be afraid to take some risks. Daphne, what do you think? I'm going to unmute you. Show it to me again, Daphne. Oh, that's so nice. Very nice. Whoa, that's cool. I'm trying to unmute everyone, but it's not unmuting. Sorry. You may have to unmute yourselves. I don't know. Liam, how are you?
I'm good.
Okay, good. Okay, shall I show you guys how to do a little bit, some tree action? I know you, oh, you missed the water cup. That was funny. How about I paint a tree and you guys could watch? And we're thinking about there's different kinds of trees, right? We have lots of trees in Maine. Oops, hold on. I've got something falling into my palette. All right, there we go. All right, I'm gonna move this little landscape out of the way. Here, this gives you an idea of how it came out. Right here, I'm gonna tip it a little bit because my grass ran into my sky a little bit. And that's okay, I could just wipe it off gently, let it dry, and could go back into it later. Just because the painting maybe didn't go perfectly or there's a little thing like that doesn't mean it's done. You can let it dry and work on it later. In fact, it's better to let things dry because watercolors change how they look in their drawing process. For example, my rainbow, look what happened with the red. It went bonkers while it was drying. Still wet. Okay, let's do a quick little tree. How about that? And we're going to use the sponge. Did everybody see that funky sponge I put down for you? I think we'll do the whole painting with the sponge. Everyone should have gotten one of these. Okay. Okay. Now here's what's important. I don't want you to put the sponge actually in your paint. I want you to only grab it from the tray.
No.
So let's do some tree action.
Yeah, you can keep it.
And we're going to do is I'm going to start with brown for the trunk. Or you could do your trunk black. Or you could do it purple. It's your picture, but I'm going to do mine a little bit of a brownish purple. Brownish, blackish purple. So I put some brown down, I put some black in it, and now I just put some purple, and I've got it all mixed up right here like this. Wait a minute, let me move it into the camera. There it is. Okay, now I'm gonna, ooh, I just put my shirt into my other palette. Nice work. I don't think anything I own doesn't have paint on it. I'm just saying. Okay, I'm gonna dip my sponge into my palette. Wait a minute. You guys can't see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay, look, I've got my sponges in there. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make my trunk. And this is how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna start at the bottom and I'm gonna go beep, 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 Boop, 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 boop. And I'm going to go back and forth. And I'm going to do a couple of tree trunks. Some of them, and they're not, I'm letting it be a little spongy, okay? I'm going to tip one of them because if all the trees are exactly the same, that means they don't have enough personality. And trees have a lot of personality. And in art, if you do an odd number, it tends to make the picture more interesting. So now I'm going to grab the little corner wedge of my sponge, and I want to make some branches. So guess what? I'm now going to go choo, 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 choo. Ooh, look at those branches. And I'm going to have them crisscross each other and bend. This is pretty fun. Remember, we're not dipping straight into the palette. We're doing it in our mixing tray. Okay, guess what's next? Anyone have an idea? We're gonna do some grass, and then we're gonna do the canopy, what I was talking about earlier. This gives you a better idea. Let me show this to you. Dee, dee, dee. Right, like that. Now, if I kept it like this, it could be a winter picture, couldn't it? Right? I could add some more branches, but I don't want to add too many branches because I want to have the canopy, the leaves up there. All right, so let's do some grass action. I'm just going to turn that a little bit so you can see it. We're going to make our grass. I'm going to use that same green that I did before. And I'm going to put a little yellow into it because I tend to like a yellowy green. And because my sponge is a little yucky, I'm going to dip it in the water of my water cup, and I'm going to squeeze it all the way out to give it a little bit of a cleaning. And now I'm going to grab the wedge, that little corner part, I'm going to grab it and start to put my grass down. And I might find I need to get some more paint ready. Let's see. And the grass, I'm going to have it behind the trees. I got to put some more green down. My green was a little bit too thin. And I got to squeeze the brush out because it also was too watery. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put some grass down, and I could make my grass long. It's like natural. And the grass is behind the trees. Okay, you guys get an idea of how this works? Look at that. Wait a minute. You can't even see my grass. Let me move that closer. Sorry. Okay, so when I put down the grass, what I did was this. I picked it up, and then I, can you see what I'm doing? It's kind of hard. There we go. I can have some of the grass go in front of the tree trunks. Okay. All right, now we're ready to do some canopy action. We got enough down there. I could do that later. It's kind of fun using the sponge. Who likes that? You guys like it? You could also use, ask somebody in your house if you can have a sponge from the kitchen sink that's not too dirty. And you could ask them for one of those sponges, and then what you can do is you could cut it with some scissors into different shapes. So what I do at the studio is I cut sponges up. This was an old one, but you can cut them into different shapes. And then when you put down the paint, you have that shape of the sponge. So you could cut a sponge into a circular shape, a triangular shape, whatever you can think of. Okay, so let's do some canopy action. And I really want that green of the canopy to be different. And right now, because it's summer, it's not spring, the leaves and the trees are not as like yellowy green. When they first came out, they were really yellowy green, and now they're getting to be more of a blue green. So I'm gonna mix up some blue green. I'm gonna start with blue, and then I'm gonna add green to it. And I've got a blue green. And if I really wanna be bold, I could add a little touch of black to it so it feels heavy. So a blue-green, but you want it to be a different green than you have on the ground because it's a different form. Okay, and guess what? Now I'm going to go back to my little sponge. I'm going to pick up, there's my blue-green, and I use the big part of my sponge. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start dabbing that on to my leaves up here. Now, we've got a problem. We have white where there's sky. We could always paint on some blue later. Or we could use another material. We could go into this picture with some colored pencils that you might have. But I'm getting the paint to go sometimes on top of the trunks or the branches, and sometimes it goes behind. See how I just went behind with that one? Just like leaves do. You can't even, the leaves sometimes cover our tree trunks. We can't even see them. My green got a little blue, so I'm gonna go back on top of it with some straight green. And it's okay if there's some mixing going on. In fact, when you have some mixing, that's when interesting things happen. And if all the trees are different, then you're doing a good job, because that means that you're noticing that our world, even though things in the landscape are similar, you know, like a lupin, two lupin flowers might have the same anatomy, they look the same, but maybe one is bending, or one had a little bug that settled on it, so it formed a little differently. You want your trees to be different. Maybe there's a little branch and some little tiny leaves are reaching down. And this is also a good time, now that things have dried on the bottom, if you wanted to add some flowers, you could do that. Maybe you want to add, I don't know what flowers right now we're seeing. With the lupins just went by. There's still some lupins out there, but we have lots of different, like peonies, and we might see some daisies. So you could think about the different kinds of flowers you want to put down on the ground. I'm kind of right now into peonies. So peonies are pink and white. So I might take some red and thin it out all the way and add just a touch of yellow.
Bye, Miss Helene.
Oh, are you leaving? Okay, bye, Patty. Bye, Cameron.
Bye.
Oh, you're welcome. We're just finishing up. And I might just dab on some little, suggest there's some flowers. Okay? All right, kids. I hope that was fun.
You want me to turn the computer?
There.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. So you learned a lot today. You practiced making marks with your brush, and that's something you could do more. Get comfortable with it. You played around with letting colors mingle. You made rainbows to get really good at your brush strokes, but also just seeing how one color can mix with another. We made some landscapes, and look, this picture is now drying. You learned how to make some clouds. And you worked with making different kinds of greens. And now we just did these little trees. So there's my tree painting. It's not done. It's also not done drying. But you use the sponge and use the mixing tray. So you still hopefully have some paper left, and you have your envelopes. So you could make your watercolor paper a little bit smaller, and you could make a smaller picture, and you can make it small enough that it fit in the envelope, right? Okay. So tomorrow's class will be a drawing day, and we are going to be drawing owls or other things. I did put a picture of an owl, of some horned owls in your drawing packet. And that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow as your primary thing, but we're going to do some other drawing things too. Okay? Are there any questions about today's class? Was it fun? It was fun?
Yes.
Oh, good. Good. All right. Well, it was a pleasure. I love teaching watercolor and I love seeing you guys, but Daphne, are you painting your arm? She's trouble. All right, Liam, you're zoned out. Liam, come back to planet Earth. Okay, so I will see you guys tomorrow morning, same time, okay? I am going to finish recording this and put it up into the cloud, and I will see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you.
See you later. Have a great day and keep on painting.
You too. Thank you.
I will.